Okay, so first I would like to introduce myself. If you don't know, I am Taja from It's a Yoga Vibes. I started doing yoga as a yoga instructor maybe about a year ago. So I'm just going to be giving like a lot of free yoga classes throughout the month of March. So if you have any time at 10 a.m. every Tuesday, please join me so we can be grounded and rooted and all that fun stuff. So today we will be doing a grounded yoga flow, really just to get us feeling like we are supported, reminding us to remain grounded and remain true to ourselves. And then we'll elevate from the ground all the way up, just so that we can holistically feel at ease. So from mountain pose, you're welcome to have your palms facing out or just gently rested right to the side. And we're just going to do some normal breathing just to prepare our bodies in this pose. In yoga, we use our breath to be a focal point. So if at any time you may feel a little at unease or you may feel a little tension, always refocus on the breath. So just continue to breathe in through the nose and out of the mouth. And now we're going to begin to build up towards the tree pose. So first, we're going to start with the left foot, just grounding, making sure that all 4 points of your feet is grounded onto the mat. And we're going to begin to lift our right leg up, holding it close towards the heart as possible. You're welcome to hold on to a chair or the wall or whatever you need to support yourself. Even if you may slip or stumble, that's okay because this is practice. So we're just building our way up towards the tree pose. And on our next inhale, we're just going to take our hand to the inner side of the knee and kind of glide it out towards the right side of the room. Breathing in, remembering you can hold on to the chair or the wall. Just allow yourself to ground the 4 corners of your feet, and let's just practice. This is a standing hand to knee pose. This allows us to become grounded, as well as this is a great hip opener. And then from here, we can begin to do our tree pose. So we'll take our foot and put it on the inside of the thigh. And you can either come to prayer hands, you can grab your wall or your chair, or you can even grab your block. If you have your block available, put it on the inside of your foot, or of your leg, and just put your foot right here and come into prayer hands. So our props remind us that although we can do everything on our own, there's nothing wrong with having that extra support. And now when you inhale, we're just going to plant both of our feet directly onto the mat. And let's just breathe here, checking in with the body, doing the body scan. How did that feel? Doing the lifting and the turning out of the legs and being able to do the tree pose, just checking in with your body and how did that feel. And then we're going to do everything on the left leg. So let's plant and keep our right foot grounded, allowing the 4 corners of our right foot to stay grounded onto the mat, and then grabbing your knee or your calves in this standing wind release pose. And just hold here. You may notice that one side of your body may feel a little more stable and grounded than the other, so that's okay. That's all a part of the practicing. But these are a great way to kind of practice and build your way up to doing a tree pose. So now on the inhale, this time we're going to take our left leg and kind of bring the knee out in this hip opener. Hold in here. Remember, grab your blocks or your chair or the wall and just kind of practice. You are welcome to even bring your hand out towards the side to help with the balancing. And it doesn't matter how many times you slip or fall, as long as you get back up and try it again. That's what really matters. So don't forget to breathe. And then we're going to bring our feet to the inside of our legs. If up here doesn't feel comfortable, you can always bring your foot towards your calf and hold it here. Or again, just bringing your block towards the inside of your right foot and kind of tucking your toe on top of the block and coming into prayer hands. If you want an added stretch in your tree pose, you can also bring your prayer hands or even bring it above your head. But just remember to breathe in. All right, now we're just going to plant both of our feet, going into a sun salutation from our mountain pose. Just bring both of our hands up to the sky, palms facing each other. Feel free to add a back bend. Exhale, we're going to go forward fold until our hands touch the mat. Inhale, we're going to half lift. And let's exhale, going back into a forward fold. From here, we're going to plant our hands onto the mat, floating our feet behind us, going into a high plank, sliding your crown towards the top of the mat, bending at the elbows, dropping your belly onto the mat, untucking your toes, chaturanga, lifting our hearts and crowns up to the sky in upward facing dog. Breathe here. And let's inhale, tuck the toes and sending our hips all the way up to the sky, pushing back in our downward facing dog. From here, you can either jump or walk your hands and feet together into a forward fold. And as we inhale, we'll roll one vertebrae up at a time back into a mountain pose. So let's do this again in our mountain pose, going up, upward salute, added and back bend. Exhale, going into forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, bringing your hands up to your calves. Straightening your back, sending your gaze forward. Exhale, forward fold. You're free to add a little swaying from side to side. And let's inhale, planting our hands onto the mat, floating our feet behind us, going into a high plank. Let's glide our crowns towards the top of the mat, bending at the elbows, dropping your belly onto the mat, untucking the toes in our chaturanga. Breathe in, lifting our crowns and hearts up to the sky in upward dog. Remember to breathe here. And on your next inhale, we're going to tuck the toes. You can either go into tabletop, And then send your hips all the way up and back to the sky. In downward facing dog. Breathe in here. And breathe out. And on your next inhale, you can either begin to walk or hop over towards your feet, going into a forward fold. And as we inhale, we'll roll one vertebrae at a time, stacking one vertebrae at a time, going into a mountain pose. So from here, we're going to go into a forward fold, hinging at the hip. And let's inhale, bringing our hands to our calves in a half lift. And let's exhale, going back into a forward fold. And let's roll one vertebrae at a time, back into a mountain pose. Now you're going to do a quick body scan just to check in and see how your body is feeling after doing this half of a sun salutation A. So let's just check in with our bodies and, making whatever adjustments, adding whatever movements you want. If you want to add a shoulder roll, or if you want to kind of add a toe tap just to bring that blood circulating. But we're going to now add a star pose and side lunge. So let's bring both of our feet out a little bit past the shoulders. And then we'll bring both of our hands up to the sky, palms facing each other. And then we'll inhale and bend our right knee and slide our hands behind us, extending that left leg. And let's exhale, return to center. Inhale, we're going to bend the left knee now. Try and keep your knee above your ankle, so you may want to just slide that foot out so that you can get that bend and extending the right knee. And let's inhale, returning to center, bringing both of our hands back out. And inhale again, forward folding over the right knee, bringing our hands behind us. Kind of look like we're flying away. And let's inhale, return to center, back to our star pose. Exhale, we're going to bend the left knee, keeping our hearts over the knee. And let's inhale, return to center. This is great just to work out our hamstrings and lengthen the spine and keeping us grounded. Let's exhale and bring our hearts back over to the right knee as we bend it over the ankle, extending that left leg. Exhale, we're going to bring our hands back to center. And inhale this time, bending over the left knee. And exhale, let's come to center. Let's forward fold and a wide forward fold, wide angle forward fold. And this time we're going to add a lunge to it. So we're going to walk our hands towards the right foot. And as you can see, we have our right knee bent over the ankle, extending the left leg. And now we're going to walk over to center and walk over to the left knee, making sure that the knee is stacked over the ankle. Let's come to center and walk over to the right knee. The knee is bent, the left leg is extended. Inhale, we're going to come to center, walking over towards the left. And let's inhale, return to center, and exhale, bending the right knee this time. On the inhale, let's come to center, and then we're going to go into a yogi squat, so you can heel toe your feet closer together and just send your hips over your heels. You could come into prayer hands and just allowing your elbows to push out the push out the knees so that the hips can open. Or you can plant your hands onto the mat. And let's lift our hips back into a half lift. And let's forward fold. Grabbing the opposite elbows, adding a sway here. And from here, we're going to go into a low lunge. So bring your left foot to the top of the mat, and then bring your left knee onto the mat and begin to slide that right knee behind you. Lifting our hearts and crowns up, bringing both of our hands in an upward salute. You're welcome to add a little back bend and hold here. Remember to breathe in through the nose and out of the mouth. And as we inhale, we're going to come into prayer hands and add a little twist. So let's turn towards the left side, and then we're going to bring our elbows to our knees. And just breathe in here. Doing a quick body scan, just seeing how your body feels. If you need to make any adjustments, feel free to do so. You're welcome to grab your blocks, to use that to support you. Let's inhale, bring both of our hands onto the mat, and we're going to float our right foot to meet the left, and then send our hips back over our heels, going into a yogi squat, bringing your hands in prayer and using your elbows to kind of push your knees out. Just giving your body that added support. And let's inhale, planting our hands onto the mat, sending your hips up, bringing your hands to your calves in a half lift. And now let's forward fold. And from here, this time we are going to do the low lunge on the right. Bringing our right foot to the top of the mat and bend it. Let's drop the left leg onto the mat, and we're just going to slide it out just a little to give an added stretch. And then from here, you can bring your heart and your crowns up along with your hands and an upward salute. You're welcome to add a little back bend. And now we're going to go into prayer hands as we inhale, turning this time towards the right side of your body, and bring your elbow on top of the knee, and just hold here. Remember to breathe. Remember to grab any props that you need to hold this pose, to feel support. And on our next inhale, we're going to plant both of our hands onto the mat and float the left foot to meet the right, sending our hips over the heels, and back into a yogi squat. We are going to bring our hands into prayer and just use your elbows to kind of push your knees out. So this is great practice if you do a lot of sitting down and you just need to, bring some movement and stretch out the hips and relax that tension. So let's inhale and plant our hands on the mat and come into staff pose. Just having a seat, extending both of our legs directly in front of us. Doing another body scan, checking in with our bodies to see how does that feel. Making whatever adjustments you need. If you feel any discomfort in this pose, you can always grab a blanket or a pillow and put it underneath your knees. Let's add an upward salute, bringing both of our hands directly over our crowns. You can interlace your fingers and add a stretch to help lengthen the spine. And just inhale as you stretch. And then we're going to exhale and release our hands, bringing both of your hands to the outside of the mat. And let's turn towards the right. And we're going to send our hands lower it down close to the mat with one of your hands behind your back for an added stretch. Remember to breathe in and breathe out. And let's inhale, returning to center, bringing both of our hands up to the sky. You're welcome to interlace your fingers to add a little stretch. And then we're going to exhale and take our right hand to the outside of the mat and bring our left hand up and over our heads for a side bend. And on your next inhale, let's begin to release ourselves, bringing our hands back up in the upward salute. You're welcome to interlace your fingers and turn your palms up towards the sky for an added stretch. You can send your gaze along with it. Breathing in here. And then we're going to lower our hands to the outside of the mat. And this time we're going to turn towards the left side of the room and continue to lower your hands until it reaches the mat. Make sure you breathe here. And let's inhale, returning back to center, bringing our hands up to stretch one last time. Breathing in, sending your gaze up. And this time we're going to take our left hand, bring it to the outside of the mat, and your right arm goes up and over your head and the side bend. Mm-hmm. Oh, I didn't hear. You had a question? Okay, so in your next inhale, let's release ourselves. And we're going to go into a seated forward fold. So begin to walk your hands directly in front of you until your hands reaches the palm of your feet. Or you can grab your toes. Or you can use your strap to put it underneath your feet to help you fold in this position. But with every inhale, just keep lowering your crown towards your knee and breathing in as you go. And let's inhale and begin to walk our hands towards our body. And then we're going to roll one vertebrae at a time onto the mat. And begin a half plow pose. So while you're on your back, simply lift both of your feet all the way up towards the sky and point your toes towards your head. And just breathe here, allowing the blood to flow throughout your body, going into your heart, breathing in through the nose and out of the mouth. And on our next inhale, begin to lower both of your feet until it reaches the mat. And then we'll begin to come into our last stage of this class, which is called Savasana. So begin to soften your gaze or close your eyes, ensuring that your shoulders are gently relaxed and flattened onto the mat, allowing your spine to relax. With every inhale, we will think of an affirmation that we can use to keep us grounded for the rest of the day or the week or the month, since we started the month anew. Maybe your affirmation is, I feel supported. So continue to breathe in through the nose and out of the mouth. Doing our final body scan, checking in with how our crowns are doing, how's the eyebrows and the jawline is doing. Begin to release that and relax those areas. How is your neck and spine doing? Making any adjustments that you may need. You're welcome to add any pillows or blankets to make you feel comfortable. But we're just going to take a few moments to think of whatever affirmation that you have set for today. And with every inhalation, just think of that affirmation and say it to yourself. And continue to breathe. Now we're going to begin to return to our normal activity. With every inhale, breathing in through the nose, we're just going to bring some awareness to our bodies. You can start by wiggling the toes or flexing your feet, pointing it up and down, adding some movement to the hips and the legs. And let's plant our hands onto the mat and allow us to lift our hearts and up by pushing the palms against the mat. You can come into an easy pose. Let's just breathe here just for a few more moments. Begin to flutter your eyes open. Checking in with your body and seeing how that feels. And hopefully that was helpful for you as it was for me. I really enjoyed this class with you today. Hopefully I'll see you again next week, Tuesday at 10 a.m. Where we'll build off on the poses that we did today, maybe add like a couple of more, but it's always good to, keep practicing the poses just so that your body can get used to the pose. If you have any questions, I am free to ask any questions that you may have. But thank you again.